Bible in a Year, the Message Version, January 15, or Day 15. Genesis chapter 31, verse 17 through chapter 32, verse 12. Jacob did it. He put his children and his wives on camels and gathered all his livestock and everything that he had gotten, everything acquired in Paddan Aram, to go back home to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Laban was off shearing sheep. Rachel stole her father's household gods, and Jacob had concealed his plan so well that Laban, the Aramean, had no idea what was going on. He was totally in the dark. Jacob got away with everything he had and soon across the Euphrates, headed for the hill country of Gilead. 3 days later, Laban got the news. Jacob's run off. Laban rounded up his relatives and chased after him. 7 days later, they caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. That night, God came to Laban, the Aramean, in a dream and said, "Be careful what you do to Jacob, whether good or bad." When Laban reached him, Jacob's tents were pitched in the Gilead mountains. Laban pitched his tents there too. "What do you mean?" said Laban. "By keeping me in the dark and sneaking off, hauling my daughters off like prisoners of war. Why did you run off like a thief in the night? Why didn't you tell me? Why, I would have sent you off with a great celebration, music, tambourines, flutes, but you wouldn't permit me to do so much as kiss my daughters and grandchildren. It was a stupid thing for you to do. If I had a mind to, I would destroy you right now. But the God of your father spoke to me last night. Be careful what you do to Jacob, whether good or bad. I understand. You left because you were homesick. But why did you steal my household god?" Jacob answered Laban, "I was afraid. I thought you would take your daughters away from me by brute force. But as far as your gods are concerned, if you find that anybody here has them, that person dies, with all of us watching. Look around. If you find anything here that belongs to you, take it." Jacob didn't know that Rachel had stolen the gods. Laban went through Jacob's tent, Leah's tent, and the tents of the 2 maids, but didn't find them. He went from Leah's tent to Rachel's, but Rachel had taken the household gods, put them in a camel cushion, and was sitting on them. When Laban had gone through the tent, searching high and low without finding a thing, Rachel said to her father, "Don't think I'm being disrespectful, my master. I can't stand before you, but I'm having my period." So, even though he turned that place upside down, in his search he didn't find the household gods. Now it was Jacob's turn to get angry. He lit into Laban. "So what's my crime? What wrong have I done to you that you badger me like this? You've ransacked the place. You've turned up a single thing that's yours? Let's see it. Display the evidence. Our 2 families can be the jury and decide between us. In the 20 years I've worked for you, ewes and she-goats never miscarried. I never feasted on the rams from your flock. I never brought you a torn carcass killed by a wild animal, but I paid for it out of my own pocket. Actually, you made me pay, whether it was my fault or not. I was out in all kinds of weather, from torrid heat to freezing cold, putting in many a sleepless night. For 20 years I've done this. I slaved away 14 years for you, 2 daughters, and another 6 years for your flock, and you changed my wages 10 times. If all God of my father, the God of Abraham and the fear of Isaac had not stuck with me, you had sent me off penniless. But God saw the fix I was in and how hard I had worked, and last night rendered his verdict." Laban defended himself. "The daughters are my daughters. The children are my children. The flock is my flock. Everything you see is mine. But what can I do about my daughters or for the children they've had? So let's settle things between us. Make a covenant. God will be the witness between us." Jacob took a stone and set it upright as a pillar. Jacob called his family around. "Get stones." They gathered stones and heaping them up, and then ate there, beside the pile of stones. Laban named it in Aramaic, Yegar Sahaduatha, witness monument. Jacob echoed the naming in Hebrew, Galid, witness monument. Laban said, "This monument of stones will be a witness. Beginning now, between you and me." That's why it is called Galid, witness monument. It is also called Mizpah, watchtower, because Laban said, "God, keep watch between you and me when we are out of each other's sight. If you mistreat my daughters or take other wives, when there's no one around to see you, God will see you and stand witness between us." Laban continued to Jacob, "This monument of stones and this stone pillar that I have set up is a witness that I won't cross this line to hurt you, and you won't cross this line to hurt me. The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their ancestor, will keep things straight between us." Jacob promised, swearing by the God of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and worshipped, calling in all his family members to the meal. They ate and slept that night on the mountain. Laban got up early the next morning, kissed his grandchildren and his daughters, blessed them, and then set off for home. And Jacob went his way. Angels of God met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, "Oh, God's camp." And he named the place Mahanaim, campground. Then Jacob sent messengers on ahead of his brother Esau in the land of Seir in Edom. He instructed them, "Tell my master Esau this, a message from your servant Jacob. I've been staying with Laban and couldn't get away until now. I've acquired cattle and donkeys and sheep, also men and women servant. I'm telling you all this, my master, hoping for your approval." The messengers came back to Jacob and said, "We talked to your brother Esau, and he's on his way to meet you, but he has 400 men with him." Jacob was scared, very scared. Panicked, he divided his people, sheep, cattle, and camels into two camps. He thought, if Esau comes on the first camp and attacks it, the other camp has a chance to get away. And then Jacob prayed, "God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, God who told me, 'Go back to your parents' homeland, and I'll treat you well,' I don't deserve all the love and loyalty you've shown me. When I left here and crossed the Jordan, I had only the clothes on my back, and now look at me, 2 camps. Save me, please, from the violence of my brother, my angry brother. I'm afraid he'll come and attack us, all, me, the mothers, and the children. You yourself said, 'I will treat you well. I'll make your descendants like the sand of the sea, far too many to count.'" Matthew chapter 10, verse 24 through chapter 11, verse 6. A student doesn't get a better desk than his teacher. A laborer doesn't make more money than his boss. Be content, pleased even, when you, my students, my harvest hands, get the same treatment I get. If they call me the master, dung face, what can the workers expect? Don't be intimidated. Eventually, everything is going to be out in the open, and everyone will know how things really are. So don't hesitate to go public now. Don't be bluffed into silence by the threats of bullies. There's nothing they can do to your soul, your core being. Save your fear for God, who holds your entire life, body, and soul in His hands. What's the price of a pet canary? Some loose change, right? And God cares what happens to it even more than you do. He pays even greater attention to you, down to the last detail, even numbering the hairs on your head. So don't be intimidated by all this bully talk. You're worth more than 1,000,000 canaries. Stand up for me against world opinion, and I'll stand up for you before my Father in heaven. If you turn tail and run, do you think I'll cover for you? Don't think I've come to make life cozy. I've come to cut. Make a sharp knife, cut between son and father, daughter and mother, bride and mother-in-law. Cut through these cozy domestic arrangements and free you for God. Well-meaning family members can be your worst enemies. If you prefer father or mother over me, you don't deserve me. If you prefer son or daughter over me, you don't deserve me. If you don't go all the way with me, through thick and thin, you don't deserve me. If your first concern is to look after yourself, you'll never find yourself. But if you forget about yourself and look to me, you'll find both yourself and me. We are intimately linked in this harvest work. Anyone who accepts what you do accepts me, the one who sent you. Anyone who accepts what I do accepts my Father who sent me. Accepting a messenger of God is as good as being God's messenger. Accepting someone's help is as good as giving someone help. This is a large work I've called you into, but don't be overwhelmed by it. It's best to start small. Give a cool cup of water to someone who's thirsty, for instance. The smallest act of giving or receiving makes you a true apprentice. You won't lose out on a thing. When Jesus finished placing this charge before his 12 disciples, he went on to teach and preach in their villages. John, meanwhile, had been locked up in prison. When he got wind of what Jesus was doing, he sent his own disciples to ask, "Are you the one we've been expecting, or are we still waiting?" Jesus told them, "Go back and tell John what's going on. The blind see, the lame walk, leopards are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, the wretched of the earth learned that God is on their side." Is this what you were expecting? Then count yourself most blessed. Psalm chapter 13, verse 1 through verse 6. A David psalm. Long enough, God. You've ignored me long enough. I've looked at the back of your hand long enough, long enough. I've carried this ton of trouble, lived with a stomach full of pain long enough. My arrogant enemies have looked down their noses at me. Take a good look at me, God. My God, I want to look life in the eye so no enemy can get the best of me or laugh when I fall on my face. I've thrown myself headlong into your arms. I'm celebrating your rescue. I'm singing at the top of my lungs. I'm so full of answered prayers. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 19 through verse 20. With Lady Wisdom, God formed earth. With Madame Insight, he raised heaven. They knew when to signal rivers, and springs to the surface, and dew to descend from the night skies. This was a daily reading of the Message version of the Bible, read to you by Bible in a Year.